All right, I want to have a quick chat about the 121 cubic inch high output CVO Gen 2 engines. I want you guys to take note, the head gasket sits up in here, how thick that actually is. If you can actually compare one of the cooling fins on the cylinder or the cylinder head to what's going on in there, it's a fair whack. Now I've got a set of feeler gauges here, and hypothetically, if I was to squeeze them all together as a whole bunch out of my feeler gauge setup, sort of get an idea on what the thickness is there. Now the thing is with these motors, they've used a 4 5/8 inch stroke crank for the 121, and the configuration to meet that is a 117 cylinder. That brings it to 121 cubic inches as a combination. Now the thing is with these motors is due to the stroke and the wrist pin height to crown height on the piston, what we actually see is 60 thousandths of piston protrude through the deck height of the cylinder, popping up in towards where that gasket is. So a couple of things you've got to realise is the piston rocket top dead centre, and obviously that piston seeing itself surpass deck height does allow a fatigue area. The piston is protruding this much, right, which you guys aren't going to be able to comprehend, but 60 thou, we'll put it this way, 80 odd thou or 78 thou is 2 mil. So you're going to see that piston crown pop up out of the hole 60 thou, right, which then can fatigue. If you're revving the shit out of these things, it can fatigue the top of the piston, which can allow it to crack, explode, you know, whatever. It's going to cause issues. So these motors from stock, this is how Harley's done it, 4 5/8 inch stroke with the piston, but the piston is popping out past the deck height, 60 thou. Now, one thing that's been an issue with these bikes is oil usage, ring seal to the cylinder wall. There's bits and bobs that go on. I've gone through some service bulletins. It's unfortunate, but it's like Harley had a heap of parts like, hey, we'll make this 121 high output. This is why the compression's so high. That piston is surpassing so far up into the cylinder head chamber for the squish, that it's got a higher comp allowance. So just some things to take note of. It's yet again, it's a cautious area. I only set the rev limiter up on this at 5,700 RPM, and it maxed at I think 134, 136 horsepower. It's still climbing, but why do we need to rev it to the hill when we've got that top end rock happening with 60 thousandths of surpassing piston past deck height?